There are 6 months left in the year, and I want to talk about what you can start doing today to make the rest of the year better, following 5 biblical principles in your life and in your business. So I have a list here in my notebook that I want to share with you, and I want to help you make the rest of this year better by following God's word and making sure that you're keeping God in the center of your goals, your business, and your life. So we're going to talk about that today and why all of this is really important. Okay, so starting off with number 1 is change starts with identity, because you cannot change who you are. You cannot pursue a goal or make changes in your life without first changing your identity. And this comes from Proverbs 23 verse 7. And it says that as a man thinketh in his heart, pointing to my mind as I'm saying heart, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. This is really important to understand here, because your self-image, how you perceive yourself, is how you will show up. Okay? You cannot change and create new habits without first changing how you see yourself. Just like when people set New Year's resolutions, they say, I want to lose 20 pounds when they've never gone to the gym consistently. And then they all of a sudden want to change their weight without first changing how they see themselves. This is why people struggle when it comes to New Year's resolutions. It's because they don't change their identity. You change the identity first, followed by the process, and then the outcome is the byproduct. Okay, this is why people struggle so much. So your identity is going to be the sum of your thoughts, your beliefs, your behaviors, and your habits. That is how you change for good and actually create lasting change. So this is one of the most important principles here, because again, if you're trying to pursue a goal like earning more money, you're trying to lose weight, you want to have better relationships, you have to change the identity first. And then the byproduct is the results that you desire over time. The next principle is about setting an impossible goal. This is something that I got from Dr. Benjamin Hardy, and how important it is to set impossible goals. Now, there are some things to factor here. Setting a goal, an impossible goal, is a tool. And it's really insightful when you look at it this way from Dr. Benjamin Hardy, his perspective. So when you set an impossible goal, it's about using that goal to reach your goals or goal faster. Most people will set like a 3, 5, or 10-year timeline to reach a certain goal. And so what they're doing is they're creating like a plan of 37 steps to reach one goal, when they can actually accomplish that goal in 1 year by using leverage. So for example, if you want to earn, let's say $50,000 a month in your business, just as an example, it's a big number, it's a really good number. And most people might think like, oh, I want to achieve this goal in 3 years. So they're going to create all these micro goals and steps that they need to accomplish in order to get there. But what if you just shorten the path, or you shorten the steps that you need to take? Instead of 37, why not focus on 1 or 2 steps? So obviously posting content is going to be important, but what if you posted one video that goes viral that brings in, leads and clients, or you showed up on a podcast that helped you to generate that kind of money? All you need is 1 or 2 action steps that will get you there. Like, this blows my mind when I started to learn about this and how powerful it is when it comes to setting your goals. Because if you just focus on the 1 or 2 things that actually get the results, you can accomplish your goals much faster. And so the scripture that I have for this one is obviously Luke 1:37, because setting an impossible goal requires to partner with God, because Luke 1:37 says, for nothing is impossible with God. So focus on the 1 or 2 steps that require you to reach your goal instead of 10 steps. Like, I'm telling you, this changes the game. So the way to work this through, just briefly, is to ask yourself a question. What would need to be true to earn $50K a month? What would need to be true to grow 30,000 followers in 90 days? Focus on those questions because the answers will surface over time, and you'll start to find the one thing or two things that you can leverage to actually cut the distance or the time it takes in half. So if you're going to accomplish one goal in 1 year of earning $50,000 a month, you are literally going to focus on the one or two things that will actually leverage the most for you. I really hope that made sense. So number 3 is develop your skill set. This is so important to understand here, because if you don't have the right skill set, you're not going to be able to serve the people that you want to serve. Your skills is how you help people, right? So Proverbs 22 verse 29 says, "Do you see a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings, not obscure men." Okay, if you're going to stand before kings, if you're going to stand before people, it's not an accident. That is because of the skill set that you have acquired and implemented to serve other people. Okay, this is really important to understand here, because if you want to succeed in your business, it requires a skill set. And I believe that a lot of people don't realize how they struggle, or they're not able to get to where they want to go, and they don't realize it's just a skill set issue. So develop your skill set. So if it's communication, practice communicating. If it's writing, practice writing, because writing does convert into content. If it's sales, practice your sales script. Like, focus on developing your skill set so you can better serve people in your business, clients, or content creation, whatever it is. So focus on developing your skill set. This is so important. And then number 4 here is, again, develop your communication skills. I know we mentioned that was a skill set you can develop, but I wanted to make this one specifically its own thing, because communication is so important. And we know that the 4 levels of value are implementation, unification, communication, and imagination, which is something I got from Myron Golden. Communication is where you start to build wealth and create freedom, because communication is how you move people. It's how you move the masses. Words are matter, and words do matter. And so communication is a high leverage skill set that you must acquire. Proverbs 16 verse 23 says, "The heart of the wise makes his speech judicious and adds persuasiveness to his lips." Ooh, that is so good. If you want to build influence and convert people who don't know you into a warm audience, you must learn how to communicate. This is one of the most important skill sets that I have been working on myself and have taken more seriously this year, and will be taking more seriously the rest of 2026 when it comes to creating content on YouTube and Instagram. So learn how to communicate precisely and clearly, because this is one of those skills that a lot of people don't have. And you'll see it. You'll see it in people because they don't know how to convey their message. They don't know how to state their case. And one thing that I've learned over the last couple of months is that people who do not know how to communicate will try to convey a message and then stumble because they don't understand what they're communicating. So let me give you an example. Have you ever tried to communicate something that you didn't fully understand, and then you're stuck and then frustrated because you're you know what you want to say, but you don't know how to say it clearly and precisely? It's because you have gaps in your understanding. The best way to practice communication is by writing. Because when you write, you start to see the gaps in your understanding. And I'm just going to be very transparent with you. I'm still learning the whole impossible goal thing from Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Myron. And I obviously struggle to communicate that a little bit to you. These are just things that I'm practicing in myself, for myself and in my business. And so learning how to communicate starts with writing. I spend an hour every single day writing an essay. And that essay helps me to convey my message or articulate what I'm trying to explain. And so when you do that, you're able to find connections that you didn't think of before from scriptures or principles or scientific principles or whatever it is. You're able to find connections, and then you're able to see what it is you actually don't understand. So if you want to get better at communication, start writing every day, pen to paper, not typing it. I write every single day, pen to paper. You can later on type it, but pen to paper is a completely different mechanism than typing. So I would start with that. The last principle here is one of the most important principles that I think a lot of Christian men don't realize is serving others faithfully. We know that in Matthew 20, 26, and 27, it says, "It shall be so among you, but whoever would be great among you must be your servant." So remember this, you're called to serve. That's it. You're called to serve other people with the gifts and skills that God is giving you. Just like Jesus did not come to be served, but to serve others. So focus on that principle as well in your business. Focus on solving the problems that you've overcome. Like solve problems for other people that are struggling right now. Like if you know somebody who's struggling, help them, especially if it's something you've overcome. Focus on serving. When it comes to your content, when it comes to your skill set, serve other people. And the byproduct of that is the success, because that is the principle that God created, right? We know that from Proverbs 11, 24 and 25. And it says, "One gives freely, yet grows all the richer. Another withholds what he should give and only suffers want. Whoever brings blessing will be enriched, and one who waters will himself be watered." We must focus on serving other people. Do the best you can with what you have and develop your skill set along the way. So I hope this video helps you and gives you a clearer path on how you can make 2026 the best that it's ever been for you and better than the last 6 months. And honestly, this next 6 months is going to fly by. So focus on developing your skill set. Keep God in the center of all of your business and your endeavors and your goals, and watch what happens. Thanks for watching. I hope that this video blessed you. Subscribe if you want more content just like this.